make sure that everybody, thank you, Russ, appreciate it. I want to make sure that everybody knows that we're here for a reason, and that it's not for me to speak. The reason that we're here is for you to make some money. And as far as us making money, the only way we make money is by buying houses or partnering with you on houses or helping you get houses. And that's the whole purpose of the company, is to take our network membership and make them all rich. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. We've determined, A.D. Kessler, bless his soul, A.D. Kessler, before he passed away, did an experiment to find out how many people actually not only are successful in this business, but how many people actually go through the effort of reading the books and listening to the tapes and so forth. So what A.D. did, he had a book that he sold for, I think it was $25, called A Fortune at Your Feet. And for the $25, you get a book that tells you exactly how to be $1 million, or be a millionaire. And the book's still available. A Fortune, I think, A.D. passed away, but I'm not sure that you couldn't pick up the book somewhere, maybe eBay or something, called A Fortune at Your Feet. Now what he did is he took $100 checks and put $100 checks in 100 books. Now that's pretty expensive marketing, but not as expensive as no marketing. But he put out $100 bills with a expiration date on them in these books, and what he got back was about 3 to 5%. So he sold hundreds of books, but found that only about 3 to 5% of the people who bought them are actually opening and reading. So let's tell you what, guys, Russ, it might be your computer. I know we're getting some background noise with moving furniture or something. Whatever it is, you could do your thing. Excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do about it. Uh-oh. It went away. Never mind. Now I got to get the other thing back. I don't want to pause. Resume. Okay, here we go. Resume meeting. Attendees cannot see your screen. Why not? Okay, Ross, now what? What do I do here? Attendees cannot see your screen. I don't want that.
Okay. First of all, that was Brett's microphone, so just Brett's not on anymore. See at the top left, just X out where it says screen share. I'll do it for you.
Okay, I got it here.
Okay. Now,
there we go. Now I can go to share desktop.
All right.
Thanks, Money. I got to find those slides first. Here we are. Got it. Share desktop. There we go. Okay, guys. So anyway, the whole point of this is he found out that only 3% of the people who bought his materials were actually listening to or reading the materials, or they didn't need $100, I guess. But he decided that what he needed to do is what I'm doing right now, and that is have weekly coaching sessions and open himself up to private mentoring and so on. Now, this is a part of your private mentoring, but remember that I'm available pretty much anytime. I can't take calls constantly, but I don't have too many coming in right now that I can't take your call. Just know that if you need anything, I'm here. Know that if you need some encouragement, I'm here. If you need help with a particular transaction, I'm here. And most importantly, if you've got somebody on the hook who is either ready to buy your house or sell you a house or a house, and then I am here to consult with them. So part of your network membership is letting me close your deals for you if you want to. Now, I know you wouldn't be in this business if you didn't consider yourself a salesperson and a closer and so forth, but I'm a good one. they say. So if you need help in that area, remember that I'm here. Don't hesitate to call me. And I'll be very honest with you when you call. If I'm on the phone with somebody else, I will probably answer your call and tell you that I'll call you back. Or if I'm talking to you and somebody else calls, I'll tell you there's another call and then get right back to you immediately. So we handled that pretty effectively here. So what I want to tell you guys is I'm here for mentoring, partnering, training, lead generation, client consultation, and everything that I can possibly do along the lines of making you some money. If I can make you a lot of money, I, for some reason, end up making a lot of money myself. So that's what it's all about. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some stuff maybe you've already known about. Real estate investing is, it's the aspect of the United States that doesn't file bankruptcy or go out of business. Now, if I get like 3 more slides and I see that this is something we talked about 2 weeks ago, I'll change it. But I just want you to know that. Doesn't go out of style, doesn't fire anybody, and most of the wealthiest people in the United States, there we go. We did this a couple weeks ago. Just to give you an idea, this is Oprah. Show you what Oprah does in her spare time. Kind of interesting. Whoops. Let's see, I want to go back here a bit. There we go. All right. In case you didn't know this about Oprah, she made her money in real estate more than anything else. Of course, she makes a lot of money with her TV show, but she owns the building and the property and the land that her TV shows broadcast from, and she owns the broadcast company. But it's the real estate that's in the basis of her immense wealth. So she's got $300 million 44-acre estate in Montecito, California. $53 million. That's what it was worth in 2001. $300 million today. $750. I don't know why it keeps doing that. $7.5 million, 10,000 square foot Fisher Island, Florida, $25 million home in Connecticut, a $2 million house in Marysville, Indiana, $1.5 million lakefront Milwaukee condo, pretty nice condo, $1.5 million bucks, $5 million home in Atlanta, $1.2 million Atlanta condo, $1.5 million Nashville condo, $4 million home in Franklin, Tennessee, $3.2 million home in Elmwood Park, $7 million in New York, $27 million in Hawaii, and also millions of homes, or dollars worth of homes in Lafayette, New Jersey, Douglasville, Georgia, Telluride, and Antigua. Not to mention hundreds of millions invested in commercial properties that house her TV and publishing empires. Now, the other one is McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't make all of their money in burgers. McDonald's makes money, first of all, in real estate, and then because of the real estate, they can afford to make a whole bunch of burgers and make some more money. But McDonald's owns 32,000 locations. About 30,000 acres of prime developed commercial real estate. The average McDonald's property is 4,000 square feet, and it comes to an estimated 124 million square feet of prime commercial real estate with an income of thousands and thousands of dollars per year per square foot from franchise owners. Now, that's how real estate is the Burger King. Okay? Pardon the pun there. Here's another guy, Ty Warner. He invented and created the Beanie Baby. A Beanie Baby's little doll stuffed with beans. They don't use beans anymore, but in the beginning they did. It's a bean bag. They were supposed to own them and toss them around. Now, these things got so popular that some of them, if you happen to hit the right one, that purple bear, if it's the right one with the right insignia and so forth, and it still has the tag attached and all that, $100,000. There's another one that's confused with it, and I don't see any difference other than the strap across its chest. and maybe a little coloration, that's $10,000. Another $3,000. So if you got a purple bear, you're probably in pretty good shape. And then you have the incredible, famous eagle. If you've been to one of my seminars, you probably own one of those. And those are among the top. They're worth, well, we buy them for $5.48. So we know they're worth probably several $1,000s a piece. So if you ever get one, you got something in your hand. Now, here's Ty Warner's real estate. Las Ventanas and Paraíso Resort in Los Cabos, Mexico. It's actually Paraíso. Rosewood Resort in Los Cabos. The beachfront Miramar Resort, Rancho San Marcos Golf Course, Coral Casino Beach Club, Santa Barbara, the mansion in Turtle Creek and Hotel Crescent Court in Dallas, the Carlisle in New York, the Hotel Sayo Ginza in Tokyo, Japan, the Dharma Wanga Saka Huki Puki in Jakarta, in the Al Faisal Hotel in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the Hotel Al Kozama in Riyadh. And then also he owns Little Dick's Bay in Virginia, a Virgin Gorda Island. I guess that's in the Bahamas. Canil Bay, St. John's Virgin Islands, Jumba Bay in Antigua, Kona Village in Kona, Hawaii, Four Seasons in New York, Sandpiper Golf Course in Santa Barbara, the Four Seasons in Santa Barbara, the San Ysidro Ranch Resort next to Michael Jackson's house out in Montecito. Well, it's not next to it. It's quite a ways, but it's real close to where Michael used to live. Montecito Country Club in Santa Barbara. So if you've ever been to any of those places, thank the Beanie Baby man, because the guy got pretty rich, and he didn't get rich because of Beanie Babies. He got rich because of the real estate he owned. The Beanie Babies just gave him the money he needed to buy the real estate. So you're sitting back saying to yourself, well, hold on a second. These people, why do they deserve to be billionaires, multi-billionaires? And they're not any smarter or better looking or better built or anything than I am. And what is the reason for that? Well, it doesn't matter in the finance business. It doesn't matter in our business how many legs or arms you have or noses or eyeballs and so on. There's a reason that these people are really rich, while you and I got to go but take out a loan to get a gallon of gas or a pair of socks. Thank you, my dear. I just had an angel come in and hand me some coffee.
Hi, everybody.
Everybody say hi, Gail. Okay, so the answer is simple. They all took the time to learn to do something that other people chose not to do, in order that they might make great financial gains by doing for the other people what they ended up having no idea how to do. So I've said that over and over again in our seminar, speaking of which we've got a 2-day workshop coming up on the 12th and 13th in Los Angeles. So please write that down. It's going to be July 12th and 13th. And also write down July 1st, I'm going to be a speaker at the Los Angeles Real Estate Club, Stephen Robin Love's club. And I can never think of the name of the club offhand. It's Progress Through Real Estate or something better. Prosperity Through Real Estate. There you go. So understand that there's only one reason that you're not as wealthy as these people are. And the primary one is you just never wanted to be. You'd like to be. You wish you could be. You wish that manna would drop from heaven and bonk you on the head. But it doesn't do that. You know, maybe Moses got some manna out in the desert there that fell from heaven. Maybe a bunch of mushrooms or something. I don't know what he got. But you're not going to get it. And you can trust me on that. Until you decide that you're willing to do what you say you are willing to do. The first step in that process is saying you're willing to do it. So if you can sit down with yourself, which I guess is hard to not do. If you're going to sit down, you're kind of forced into sitting down with yourself. So forget that expression. But if you can sit down in a room alone with a pad of paper and a pen and just write down what it is you're willing to do to get what you're willing to get. It'll happen. You know, we talk a lot about what Gail calls a wish box. I call it my director's box. I frequently sit down and write letters to my director, and I say, in the letter I say something like, "Dear Director, I really need $25,000 prior to such and such a date, and it's very important. It's imperative I have this. I have a debt to pay," and blah, 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 and I write it, and I say I'm writing this letter in all sincerity, and if there's something of equal value that should come to me in the place of what I'm asking for, that's okay. And then I sign it, Bill Gatton, and incredibly, these things come to me. Now, you say, well, then why don't you do that every day? You get $25,000 a day. Well, it doesn't work that way. I always get what I need, but it doesn't always come in the package that I expected it in. If I ask for $25,000 every day, I'd get something until the force, as it were, God, if you will, figures out that I'm being a little bit frivolous with my wishy-washy wishing. So that's not going to work. What you have to do is, first of all, determine what you're willing to do to get what you're willing to get, and then know for sure what it is that you need, not that you want, but know for sure what you need, and know for sure that you have a reason for needing it and a reason for having it, and that you have a place to put it, and that you plan to shepherd it or steward it when it comes. It's it. If you need it, and you got a place to put it, and you got a reason for it, and you are already announced to yourself or to that aspect of you who is the godly part of you that you're going to take care of it, and then you get it. Now, you ask for a brand new Mercedes-Benz convertible. I did once, and I got it. I got two of them, as a matter of fact. And they were both, because they're so quick to act, got to be careful what you pray for, as they say. I ended up with two Mercedes convertibles and couldn't afford both of them, and it was a horrible mess. So be careful, because you're going to get what you ask for if what you ask for is something you perceive to be a necessity. In the case of my convertibles, I didn't need two convertibles, but when I got the first one, I needed the car, and I had the wherewithal to be able to pay the monthly payments, and I ended up getting the car. Well, the next thing I know, I get happy and go lucky, and I'm thinking I'm the king of the world. So I leased the car to somebody and got a brand new one, which I needed as a replacement. And the guy who leased the car took off to he went to Taos, New Mexico with my first Mercedes, and I had to spend a lot of money flying to Taos, New Mexico, finding this guy, threatening to bonk him on the head with a pipe, and then taking my car and driving it back, and he pretty much destroyed it and so forth. So long story. Don't need the long story, but be careful what you ask for, because what I'm telling you is so certain that you will get it if you follow those rules. Can't be a want, a wish, or a need, or a prayer. It has to be, a want, a wish, or a prayer. It has to be a need. And that need has to have a place to go. And it has to have a place to be and be taken care of. And it has to be sincere. Now, you may have a lot of sincere needs that you're not verbalizing or vocalizing. And you can do that. You can do it with prayer. You can do it with prayer. There's a couple ways to say a prayer. One of them is to get down on your bended knees and supplicate to God. Another one is to write a letter to that aspect of yourself that is God. You are the physical manifestation of that God. I don't mean to wax religious here, because I'm not a traditionally religious person, but I'm telling you that book that has been around for a couple thousand years now got some pretty good stuff in it. You don't have to necessarily interpret it the way other people do, but if you follow the guides, it gives you what you want. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, just understand that. If you want to. If you don't want everything that you want, then don't bother. Okay, here we go. Next page. Some reasons you might not be a real estate mogul yet. One of those reasons, you don't have enough cash to buy a single property, much less a chain of hotels. Well, how much do you have to get a free house? Now, I've given you, if you've listened to these calls over a period of time, I've given you everything just about that I know about how to get free houses, and there's nothing to it. Find somebody who has a house that doesn't want it and who is willing to give it away in exchange for your getting their monkey off their back and take the house. Now you say, oh yeah, but if I take the house, I'm going to have risk and danger, and what if I can't sell it to somebody else, and what if nobody wants it, and what if, we'll get rid of the what ifs and take the frickin' house. Then worry about what you're going to do with it. Because in our program, remember, I told you, you don't have to make any commitments. You don't have to take any risk. You don't have to go on the title. You don't have to go on the loan. And if something doesn't work out, you can give the house back to the guy. He might not like you very much, but you don't have to file bankruptcy on your family and everything else in order to do what we do. Now, I've had to give back a couple houses. When the real estate recession hit, I owned too many properties. And I thought I was real smart. I thought I'm going to go out and now that the real estate market seems to be subsiding a bit, I'll go out and sell all the houses I have that don't have much equity in them. And I did. Racked up some pretty good money. Then all of a sudden, I woke up one day and the houses that I had yesterday with lots of equity in them didn't have any equity today. And the next thing you know, I'm having to scramble and spend money trying to restore everything I had, trying to get back to normal, not realizing in time that we weren't going to get back to normal for a long time. So as a result, I had to give up some houses. I got to a point where I tried to take care of all of them, and finally I just had to give them back. And amazingly, everybody got these houses back. We're glad they did, because I gave them some money. I said, do you want me to go ahead and bring the payment current and give it back to you, or would you rather just have it go into foreclosure and then I'll send you the money instead? Well, they would all rather have the money instead. For most cases, I was able to take care of people. But understand this. I want to give you away, and it didn't affect me. In other words, I was just as broke after doing it as I was before I did it. So you don't have to put yourself in that position if you understand who we are and what we do and what you're here for. You just don't. Now, why not go out and take a house? We've got a thing called the non-exclusive option. Actually, I'm not sure, but I think it's something that we stole from Ron LeGrand years ago. I'm not sure. I had Jim Pasquini was our sales manager at the time, and I believe that's where the idea came from. It came from Jim, but I think that's where he got it. And the idea with a non-exclusive option is you don't have to pay an option fee. You just write up this non-exclusive option to buy the house, to acquire the property within the next 45, 60 days, whatever. And I suggest you attach a $20 bill to the front of it. And when they ask what that's for, you say it's just for legal consideration. You don't need it for legal consideration, but it makes them comfortable in not asking why there's no option fee involved. And what it does, it says basically, if you find a better offer, take it. You don't have to stick to my option agreement here. Just give me a 10-day notice. And that's it. Now, obviously, if they tell you they want to cancel the option and you got a buyer on the hook, well, you got 10 days to close the deal and take the house. But I've never had to do that. I've always just said, okay, cancel the option, forget about it, and move on. So anyway, that might be a reason that you're not a multi-gazillionaire, okay? Because you don't have enough cash. Well, maybe you don't have enough credit either. Well, we just talked about that. With our program, you don't have to have credit. Why would you need credit if you're going to take over somebody else's loan? The only credit you need is what the seller wants you to have. Now, if you can, very rarely in my pursuits does someone ask me for a credit report. Well, if they ask me for a credit report, I could give them my credit report. But before I do, I'm going to explain because of FES, my credit report's not bad now. But without them, I just explain, hey, listen, I'm going to give you my credit report, but I've really been zapped by the real estate recession and so forth. So don't expect to see it perfect. And they go, oh yeah, I understand. But very rarely do I get asked for it. And the reason for that is I'm talking to them in some pretty logical terms, and I'm a pretty good closer and what have you, and I'd like to offer that to you guys. If you need somebody to close your deal, let me do it for you or with you. I won't ever talk to your client without you on the line, but I am a pretty good closer, so don't pass up an opportunity. Another one, you've been conditioned to believe that it's only other, more knowledgeable people who get involved in real estate. Well, that's true to some extent, but the only thing they're more knowledgeable in is just doing what it is that you say that you're willing to promise yourself that you will do. That's all. They're not smarter. They're not more fleet of foot. They're no more than you are. I had a neighbor one time. His name was Mel Cummins. Mel Cummins lived in a little house in the same neighborhood I lived in. We had fairly nice houses, and we were doing pretty well. But that's all we had, is we had a job to go to every day, and we had our homes. And somehow Mel found out that he could take over a property in Oxnard, California, and near the beach, go in and fix it up and sell it and probably double his cost. And he came to me and he said, Bill, why don't you partner with me on some of these deals? They're just incredible. And I had some sage advice for him. I said, tell you what, Mel, I'd like to keep all my eggs in one basket. I got a good job and making decent money, and no, I don't think I want to get involved in speculations and so forth. He's okay. Well, after that, I ended up going in the equipment leasing business. And I decided now it's time for me to go in business for myself. So I go into equipment leasing. And one of the people that came across my desk as someone who might need to lease some equipment was Mel Cummins. I then find out that Mel Cummins owns a giant hotel in Santa Paula, California. He owns a giant strip center in Newbury Park, California. And he owns other hotels all across the country and dozens of very expensive properties on Oxnard shores in Oxnard. And he was too busy to even talk to his old buddy, Bill, about doing some equipment leasing. So the message there is stop long enough to consider who you are, where you are in life, and what it is that you really want to do. And understand that you cannot make a change in anything without there being some interim period of disruption in your life. It just has to happen. You can't quit your job today and become a real estate mogul tomorrow. But if you really want to be that real estate mogul, you've got to acknowledge the fact that you're going to have to quit your job eventually. So that means that you're going to have to do a lot of extra work in your spare time and so forth in order to be able to afford to quit your job. And you don't have to equivocate or anything else. Just write a letter to yourself, tell yourself what you want, what you plan to do, what you need to do, and what it is that you have to do. So let's go on to the next one. You're not certain that owning real estate is right for you. After all, you know nothing about carpentry. You know nothing about painting, landscaping, electrical wiring, property management. Yeah, well, so what? And neither do I. Couldn't care less. I don't have to do that stuff. If I got a property, I'm going to find a partner that's got some money to come in and pay for electrical wiring and so forth. For me, a fixer-upper is a house where I have to go in with a tube of toothpaste and plug up the holes in the wall where the pictures were hung. That's it. That's a fixer-upper. My hand does not fit the handle of an implement of any kind. Other people have implement hands, and I don't need them. So that's part of the entrepreneurship that we're talking about. It all sounds, another reason is it all sounds like a bunch of hooey, and you already have a steady job. There's my Mel Cummins analogy, which you don't like very much, but hey, you always know where your next meal is coming from. Big freaking deal. Who cares where your next meal is coming from? You're an American, and you've got food. I mean, if you want free food, move to Las Vegas. We didn't realize that when we moved to Las Vegas, we were going to get all kinds of free stuff. I mean, we hardly ever pay for a dinner meal. We can go to a dozen casinos and go to their lavish spreads and eat for free because we have points. We go in, once in a while put $20 in a slot machine and go to their free giveaways and that sort of thing. And before you realize it, you've built up enough points, as it were, to be able to have food for free. And when you have the food, that even gives you the points and so on. So I'm not a gambler. Used to be, but not anymore. From that standpoint, anyway. So, guys, understand this. You're not going to worry about not feeding your family, because there will be a way. You will find a way. And here's the intricate part of this, kind of an aside that I have to tell you. What I realized during some of the toughest times in my life is that your brain is wired in such a way that you will find a way. Now, that's an absolute fact. If somebody locks you in your house, you're going to find a way to stay alive. And you're going to spend your time while you're alive finding a way out. But your brain insists that you do that. You don't get a choice or anything else. You're going to save yourself no matter what. And you're going to find your way out. You're going to find a way. You're going to do something. And that's the way life works. So use that knowledge about what happens naturally unconsciously and use it consciously, and you can be or do anything you want to do. Because that's the way the brain works. It'll always find the way in an emergency. So create an emergency. And that's what a need is. When you have a need versus a want or a wish or a hope or a dream or something, a need has to be fulfilled. Your brain will fulfill it unconditionally. It has to happen. Think of anything you've ever truly, truly needed in your life that you didn't get. There's nothing that you're going to come up with, because everything that you have actually needed, you've unconsciously sought and got. Period. So create, first of all, the toughest part of that is creating a need out of a want. In other words, I want to be a millionaire. Yeah, well, who cares? Yeah, but I'd really like to have a lot of money because I know people with a lot of money and they have a better life than I do. Well, no, probably not. They just probably have better rewards coming in than you do from the beautiful life that you already have. So until that want becomes a need or a necessity, it's not going to do much for you unless you get lucky. And luck has nothing to do with it. People who win the lottery, for the most part, the largest percentage of them who win big lotteries are out of money in 3 years because they didn't need it. And as a result, they didn't plan on what they're going to do with it. They didn't steward it properly, and it went away from them. So you've got to need it if you plan to keep it. And you've got to take care of it if you plan to have it. So just understand that. Well, here's some really good news, okay? You don't need cash to acquire income property. Not if you know what we do. You know, Dr. Al Lowry said to me not too long ago, he said, you know, the beautiful thing about this is if you understand creative financing, you never have to worry about being poor. And it's true. There are people who are on the call right now, and there are people who attend my seminars and other seminars who are poor. So now you say, well, Bill, then that doesn't work for me then. Well, they're poor because they don't understand creative real estate. If they did, they'd won't do it. So stop it. I want to give you the information that I have, which is a drop in the bucket probably compared to everyone else's information. But even with that tiny bit of information, you can become very wealthy if you just do it. Zig Ziglar, Get Around to It, always pops into my head. He had a little round wooden disc that said "To It" on it, T-U-I-T. And he'd toss them out to the audience and say, you said you'd do it when you got around to it. So now, here's what round to it, go do it. You don't need credit to be a real estate investor. You don't need cash. You don't need all the stuff that most people think you need. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that either. You don't have to have an inordinate amount of experience to be involved in real estate. You just need a coach. And here I am. Hello. I'm your coach. I wish you could do better, but I don't think you can. So here's some more good news. Good news coming up. Real estate ownership right for me? Holy cow, is there anyone with a functioning brain for whom real estate wouldn't be right? Real property ownership is, after all, just money, wealth, prestige, financial security, and financial well-being. So is it right for you? If it's not, then don't call me up anymore on the phone. Ever. Again. Okay. Holy cow. There's your holy cow right there. Okay. Real estate. Real estate can entail hard work, but most people consider doing something challenging with consistent reward something other than work. So no matter how hard it is, if you're cleaning garbage cans for a living and you're getting $100 a piece and you can clean 100 a day, you're going to want to jump into every garbage can you see if that money is your objective there. It wouldn't matter to me. You give me $100 for your garbage can and let me do 100 of them a day. I'll clean anybody's garbage can. So just know that. I don't want you to go out cleaning garbage cans because you don't have to. You can go buy real estate. It's more enjoyable. Too often, the definition of work is being jangled out of a warm bed every morning to go to a dreadful place to do a distasteful task for 8 miserable hours at least, while trusting that someone you don't even like will allow you to keep your job until your Social Security and nagging backache kick in. You guys don't need that. You just don't. You know me. You know what we do for a living. You know that I'm not going to lie to you. I would never ever again say that I am incapable of giving you false information, because I found out a couple of years back that I am gullible sometimes, and people can give me false information that I trust, and I will pass it to other people unknowingly, causing people to lose money. I'm talking about Gary Jones and 3ARC and the stupid mortgage amelioration program that pretty much wrecked gals in my life for a very long time, from which we are now recovering nicely, by the way. But anyway, just know that. I won't lie to you, on purpose anyway. And I'm telling you that what you know and what you can gain from these sessions is invaluable. It's yours, and I'm here for you to do it anytime, any place we can. Oh, yeah, as far as the retirement thing, let me tell you this. After all of that, at the end, you get a gold watch and sit quietly at your retirement dinner, smiling, grinning compliantly while the company vice president, whom you've met only once in 35 years, extols all of your virtues from notes on a paper napkin and mispronounces your name. Hey, it's Bernie Fisher, not Barney Fife, you jerk. Don't need that, guys. So, having a niche in the market that sets you apart from all others is a godsend. I mean, a product, a system, or a novel idea that provides more and does it better than any competitor could. And that's what you guys have. Think about your competitors. How many people do you know that can go out and make a lot of money without a lot of risk on an over-encumbered property? Well, you can, if you know what we do. How many people do you know who can convert a piece of real estate into a piece of personal estate? How many people you know can convert personal property or real property into personal property or personality? Just you. And unless they know what we do, they're not do that. And here's the beauty of that. All of the laws that are prohibitive relative to real estate don't apply to personal estate. So you go out and pick up property and you say, oh, well, I can't do this because the seller has to, seller finance the house. And that's against the rules as far as, Dodd-Frank is concerned. No, it's not. Not if you convert it to personal estate. Now Dodd-Frank doesn't affect it. Dodd-Frank only relates to real estate and real estate mortgages. And we're not going to have any real estate involved. We're going to have personal estate involved. The real estate is owned by a trustee who's not you. So there's no transfer of real estate. There's no sale of real estate. There's no purchase of real estate. It's all personal property. So just know that there's no mortgage involved. It's merely a lease of a trust held property until such time as the tenant is ready to buy the house, at which time he buys the house for its full fair market value. There's no option involved. He pays full fair market value minus any money that the trust owes him. So if the agreement was that he gets all of the future appreciation, he'll pay full fair market value minus all of the appreciation that's occurred since he got into the property, which can turn out to have exactly the same force and effect and function and benefits and advantages of any so-called owner finance arrangement. I mean, we can structure it to give you 100% of the benefits of a lease option without there ever being a lease option, or 100% of an all-inclusive trust deed or an all-inclusive mortgage without there ever being an all-inclusive trust deed or mortgage. We can structure it to function exactly like a land sale contract, so that you don't get the ownership until the end, but all along the way, you have ownership of personal property that will give you the same benefits as ownership of real property without there actually being any real property involved. So it really is, guys, it's magical. So get the magic down and do it and use it to make some money for yourself. All you need is what you're getting right now, some clear, focused training that you can master with the least amount of effort over the briefest period of time. And own the knowledge. Right now, everything I'm telling you today belongs to you now. I don't know, you may think you've heard it before, but I don't think I ever say the same thing twice in the same way. And if you haven't owned it before, own it right now and go get some houses. Now we're going to cut off here pretty quick. Let's see. Become wealthy. All you need to do, consistent and unlimited hand-holding. I'll do that for you. Competent, experienced, dependable, self-assured mentor. That's me. So take a look at the equity holding trust transfer and just say to yourself a couple things. What if you could effect a complete assumption of any loan payment stream, gaining all the benefits of ownership without a due on sale violation, without a Dodd-Frank violation? What if you had access to a tried and proven solid vehicle for shielding any property that you own or get from anyone else's creditor judgments, IRS liens and actions, and marital dissolution, probate, bankruptcy, and so forth? What if? I mean, this is pretty incredible. What if you knew how to give a lease tenant, somebody who's leasing a house, what if you knew how to give your lease tenants full income tax write-off or the mortgage interest and property tax on the underlying loan? And not only on the underlying loan, but on a loan that you didn't take out. It's not in your name, that you're not responsible for. Because when you become a beneficiary of a land trust, and if the documentation is proper, the assignment and the beneficiary agreement and all that is proper, you now have access to 100% of the income tax write-off on the mortgage loan, even though it's not in your name. And you have 100% ability to add another beneficiary and let them take the income tax write-off, even though it's not in their name either. Think about that. How many competitors do you know who can do that? You don't have any, I can tell you in advance. Another what if, in the face of a tenant buyer default, what if you can avoid the necessity of unlawful detainer, foreclosure, and quiet title actions? or ejectment actions. And all you need is simple eviction, being all that's necessary. Now that should put some comfort in your brain. It's a nice way to own income property. So just know that if you want to do this business, there's only one way to do it without all the negatives and unseen dangers and so forth. And that is what we do, folks, for a living, and what we so desperately want to do with you and for you for a living. So just let us be there for you. So let's see, we're going to stop sharing here for a minute. And we're going to go to talking to Mr. Ehlers here. Brett, how are you this morning? You still open? There you are. I'm going to open you up.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great, great. Everyone can hear you now. So how's the world looking from sunny Salt Lake City?
Oh, it looks absolutely beautiful. We had snow this week at about 8,000. I was enjoying watching all the fluffy white stuff fall from my office window.
That's cocaine, more than likely.
Yeah. Oh, Utah doesn't have those kind of things.
Oh, okay.
You know, I had a student send me a spreadsheet here this last week. Has a whole bunch of rentals, and they're killing him. They're killing him. He bought them wrong. I'm going over his spreadsheet. He's got at least 20% cash into each of these loans that he's gotten on these properties. He isn't getting one stinking dime for all the money that he put into the properties for the down payment, that 20%. And he's not even covering his expenses on the rents that he's getting on the rest of his money. He'd have been better and literally he's got several $100,000 tied up in these properties. He'd have been better leaving that several $100,000 sitting in the bank at 0.5% than the miserable mess that he's created for himself here. And if he would have just known about what you teach before he'd done all of that, he wouldn't have this disaster that now I'm helping him to do damage control on. And we can do damage control, but it's always going to hurt. Yep. And so they need to know you. They need to know you.
And you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Another thing, too, that I love the benefits that the non-exclusive option that you teach about provides to everybody. In fact, real estate agents and brokers hate that NEO because it allows us to control the property and do the same thing that they do without having to have a real estate license, and to have far more flexibility and no intervention of the government in our business using that cool little document. I love that thing, Bill. I love what you teach about that.
Well, I love you too, Brett. Doggone it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, I mentioned something about the credit report thing, and I know that one of your guidelines is, well, I'll trade credit reports with you, and that's pretty clever. You know, you mentioned that when you say that to people, they always back off. I haven't said that. I'm not as brazen as you are, but that certainly is something, you know, sure, I'll give you my credit report, you give me yours. Now, you know, the only thing there is, and I might have, you know, just throw it out, that a lot of times you've got a property that would really work well if you can provide somebody a good-looking credit report. And if you can't, you can't. So you've got to use whatever tactics are available. And what I find is that honesty is the best policy in just about every case. Show up, pay attention, be honest, and stay unattached to the outcome, you know, as we say. But the thing is, I don't need to have a good credit report. Who's got a good credit report these days? I mean, everyone is trying to recover from the recession, and including the guy selling his house because he's over-encumbered, so he knows what happened. If he is over-encumbered, if he's not, he still knows what happened to the real estate market. And I just don't have the problem with somebody pursuing it. And if they do, I say, sure, I'll give them my credit report. Not going to make not going to make the deal because it's terrible. Okay, if it is, and right now I don't think it's terrible. I haven't looked at it lately, but I am a FES guy, thanks to Brett. So anyway, Brett, what's going on in the world of credit and so forth? I know you're traveling a lot. You're constantly on the road and on the phone and so on. Give us a kind of a rundown, if you would.
All of the elements of opportunity in the way that I'm viewing things have all to come together. There's a horrendous amount of people. I mean, there's still over 10 million homes that cannot refinance, cannot eventually, because of them being over encumbered, and that leaves great potential for everybody that's on this call to have a fabulous business. So we've got 10 million homes. We've got loan originations down another 8% from first quarter, and they're expecting it to continue to go down.
Yep.
Everybody was blaming the the weather for a lackluster business and sale of real estate, and that hasn't picked up even though the snow's gone. And so people are still needing to move their real estate just because of life, not necessarily because they're having any problems. It's so difficult for a lot of people to get any loans, but they still want to have a home of their own. And so there's this perfect storm in real estate that is brewing and developing. And those of us that are out there participating in finding solutions for this perfect storm are going to make a whole lot of money. And what we do and what you teach is going to allow everybody on this call to do what real estate agents can't do, what a lot of other people can't do because they don't have the knowledge. One of the things that is critical with our real estate business and is the instrument that I use to do our preliminary investigation on new areas is the use of credit restoration for those people that are ready to move forward to get that part of their life in order. And with the services of FES and also the extra income between transactions that we get every time we sell credit repair, we enroll an agent, is a fabulous cash flow while we're building the transactions. And just even if you're not building a transaction, it's an incredible way to have cash flow and extra money on top of the paycheck that they're not going to give you a raise this year.
Yeah, that's, it's incredible. And people are on the line right now. I've talked to several of the people who are on the line. I see some familiar names who've told me that they're going to get a hold of you or me to become a part of that and get their credit cleaned up and so on. And so, guys, whoever you are, I just advise you to do that right away. Don't wait. I mean, it takes a while to get it taken care of to begin with, but even more importantly, and the thing that I say every time, and Brett's been doing this so long that he's gotten more humble about it than I might be, and I apologize for that. But the thing is, when you get it, Brett doesn't talk about as much as I do, and that is the fact that you get so many other things. The credit clearing is one thing, or restoration, but you also end up with the life insurance. You end up with the identity theft protection. You can end up with the prepaid credit card and all this stuff. The living will and all this. All of this stuff is so valuable. Even if you took the identity theft, the credit repair out of it, you still got a fantastic deal. And top of the credit restoration, and on top of, if you decide you want to be an agent, I mean, that's lucrative in itself. I mean, I'm not going to disclose. I happen to know a fraction of what Brett makes doing that, but Brett's no different than you or me, and I know that Brett makes one ton of bunch of money being an agent for FES, and you can do that too.
They absolutely can. Heidi and I we just came off of our second cruise that FES paid paid for the whole cruise. Balcony cabins, and those are the most expensive ones. The whole trip was incredible. It was 7-night, 8-day cruise, and that they're doing it again next year. They've just started the qualification for the cruise. They take the top 50 producers in the company. Heidi and I came in at 19 last year, and yes, the business can do you very well. We've just incorporated it as part of what we do with the real estate, and it is very, very productive. I want to encourage everybody, come with us on the cruise. It was a ball. Bill and Gail and Heidi and I would love to have you join us on the next Belize. We're going to Cozumel. Bill, you and I have both been there together to those.
Oh, yeah. I was there with a brand new rip down the middle of my chest, remember?
Yeah, you were. Now, I haven't been to Honduras, and that's one of the other ports that are going to be stopping to. Have you been to Honduras?
No, never have.
Okay, so that'll be a new port for us. And
I think they kill you there, though.
Well, what a way to go. And if anyone hasn't, and I know some people don't, before I'd gone on my first cruise, and people were saying, oh, you got to go on a cruise, and that doesn't sound too fun, stacked on that boat with all those people, but I've definitely changed my mind, and 10 cruises later, we're even more excited about them now than we've ever been. And so if that's not your burn, let the money, I mean, that was a lot of money that we made qualifying for that cruise. Let that be your burn to make that money as part of your real estate business.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, guys, if you're ever on a cruise with Brett and Heidi, you're going to have a good time because they're just nice folks. We've been on a couple cruises together, Brett.
We have, and they have been a ball every time.
Yeah, we had our company cruise. When we were North American Realty Services, we had the NARS cruise. We had about 30, 40 of our members join us, and their wives and husbands and so on. It was really great, just a fantastic time. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, Brett, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Sure.
You discussed and agreed with me that there are 10 million properties out there that the owners cannot sell, cannot refinance for some reason.
That's correct.
How do I go out and find those 10 million properties from your point of view? What do I do to get those people who need me so badly?
There's two major things to get those properties. First off is to let everyone that knows who you are know that you're buying real estate and assisting people with difficult real estate situations. That's going to be the fastest, easiest way to start to bring in a database of properties, because these are people that already trust you. They already know that you would not deliberately hurt someone or want to hurt someone, and they will let you know about situations of other people that they know. Hey, get in touch with my friend Bill because he works on these kinds of things. So that's number one. And number two is to gather all of the resources where people advertise their properties for sale. Not just one or two, but there are literally dozens of resources. Of course, Craigslist is a big one. Oh, by the way, on Craigslist, just so that you know, something that has occurred with our marketing in the last few days. On the real estate marketing with Craigslist, if you've got pictures, they're not flagging those and ghosting them or literally just shutting them down. I had 3 states just get shut down on me this week that were buyer-oriented, not selling real estate-oriented, and we had pictures with them. Unless it is actual real estate with real estate pictures, they're shutting down the advertising. So the script ads are working the best. Bill, the script ad that you use, is perfect. Just don't put any pictures with it, and it'll keep moving through Craigslist without a problem.
What happens if you put pictures with it?
If it is not actual real estate that you're advertising, for example, buy your home without bank qualifying and fix your credit too. If I'm putting pictures with that, they're flagging that and shutting it down. However, if I have a home that is for sale and I have lots of pictures of the home, that's fine. They don't have a problem with that. So that's the difference between the two ads. And if you're just putting in script and no pictures, buy a home without bank qualifying and fix your credit too. As long as there's no pictures, they're letting the script ads go through.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Now there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of free marketing classifieds in everybody's area. For example, in Las Vegas, you've of course got Craigslist, but you've got the Daily Business Journal that has their classifieds online, so you want to be getting those. There is Backpage, UPillar, and so you want to be aware of all of these resources that are advertising the properties that are not with real estate agents or on the MLS. And then here's the silver bullet, folks. The first silver bullet is letting everybody that knows who you are know that you buy real estate and help people with difficult real estate situations. And then the second silver bullet is from all of those advertisings, from all the advertising where people are saying, call me, my house is for sale. You have to pick up the phone and call them.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, unbelievable. And what will happen if you'll use Bill's scripts and memorize them and be proficient with them, when you call them on the phone and use Bill's scripts, they will say, yeah, I'm interested in that. That's how you get your hands on those 10 million properties.
Yeah, guys, and if you want the script, email me. I know I'll get a ton of emails, but I'll answer them all. And I'm going to give you the script. Kind of revised it a little bit, thanks to Brett in large part. But our new member, Jerry McCarty, caused me to have to rewrite a script. I think it'll work. And if you want it, you can have it. Basically what it says is the same thing. It says, hi, I'm calling about your for rent ad. And I'm looking at, is the property still available? How much is that rent? Is it a pretty good neighborhood? And all that. And then, can I ask if you're renting the house out because it might be over encumbered? And if so, then you go on one track, and if not, you go on the other track. But the track about that is, well, I'm not concerned about the over encumbrance. I just like to take over payments. If you can carry the loan for me for a couple of years, I'll take over the payments and handle all the repairs and upkeep, management, maintenance, everything. And at the end of that time, then I'll go ahead and sell the property, refinance it in my own name, or whatever we're going to do. Resell it. I'm going to sell it or refinance it in my own name. Now, by doing it that way, you get some pretty good responses because you're taking the monkey off of the people's back. Now, it doesn't mean, and I don't want to get into another subject, maybe we'll do it next week, but it doesn't mean that you can't go in and work with a lender to get a loan modification, get a short sale, whatever you want to do later on. I don't worry about it because I just put a resident beneficiary in to make all the payments and handle all the maintenance and upkeep for having a beautiful home to live in that they can afford. If the payments are too high, no problem. I'm going to have the seller pay part of the payment. And if they're not too high, great. Now I'll have the seller pay me a positive cash flow along with the positive cash flow I get from the buyer and so on. So I just want to say, Brett, you're always a breath of fresh air for us. And like I mentioned last week, we got a lot of people who are talking about kind of looking forward to your part of the presentation every week. They like you. And I'm going to tell you guys something. You never find a nicer guy in the world, and you'll never find anybody ever in your life who is as honest and direct and forthright as Mr. Ehlers. So in whatever the capacity is you're dealing with Brett, do it. Because he won't lie to you. He won't deceive you. He won't mislead you. He's a good guy. One of the best friends I ever had in my life. And also a very knowledgeable person. Brett, thank you for being Brett.
Wow, thank you, Bill.
And thank you guys for joining us today. Did you have any parting words for this group, Brett?
Just that they should go to your website, go to the FES link, and use those services, get their credit fixed, use it as a tool with their business, and join you and me on the cruise.
You got it. That would be fantastic, because we want to be there next time. Guys, thank you for joining us. Don't forget, we got the 2-day workshop coming up on the 12th and 13th in Los Angeles. It's going to be held at the Airport Hilton, right across from the airport entrance on Century Boulevard. The 12th and 13th is going to go from 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, both days. The price of that is $49 pre-registration and $79 at the door. And there's no charge for members, whether you're a member of the network or a member of the Los Angeles Real Estate. Robin and Steve Love's Real Estate Investment Club, the Prosperity Through Real Estate Club. There's no charge. And for those of you who do get in without any charge, who get in for free, there's a 100% money-back guarantee. So be sure and be there. That's a joke. Nobody ever gets my humor.
That was good. That was good.
So, guys, Brett, thank you again, and guys, thank you all for being with us today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. And for those of you who are our affiliate partnering members, remember, $49 a month. If you've been a member of the network for at least 3 months, you can become an affiliate with us if you pledge $49 a month for a minimum of 3 years, and then we can split 50-50 on partnership in real estate and partnerships in the products that we sell and so forth. So do one or the other. If you're not already a network member, please become one, because we've got so much money we can make together. Don't let that slip by. And I think that's about it. So thank you, guys, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Brett.